Captain Do-hyun Kim sat alone on the bridge of the HSS Defiance. His eyes were fixed on the main screen. It showed only darkness and floating metal pieces. Just hours ago, those pieces had been the proud ships of the human fleet. "Computer, any human life signs?" Do-hyun asked, his voice barely a whisper. "No life signs detected, Captain," the ship's computer answered. Do-hyun closed his eyes. He had been too late. The Defiance, a small scout ship, had been far away mapping a new star system when the attack happened. They had rushed back when they got the emergency call, but they arrived to find only wreckage. The door to the bridge slid open. Engineer Jisoo Park walked in, her face pale. "Captain, I've checked all channels 3 times. No response from any human ships," she said, her voice shaking. Do-hyun nodded slowly. "What about the colonies?" "Some are still sending signals, but they're under attack. The Kreth are moving fast." Jisoo's hands tightened into fists. "They're hitting everything at once." Do-hyun stood up and walked to the window. The Defiance was hiding behind a moon, out of sight of any Kreth ships that might come to check their victory. His ship was small, just a scout vessel with a crew of 8. Not a warship, not built for battle. "How many Kreth ships were here?" he asked. Jisoo checked her tablet. Based on the debris patterns and energy readings, at least 30 large warships, maybe more. "And they destroyed our entire fleet." Do-hyun's voice was flat. "Yes, the Kreth used some new kind of weapon. The fleet didn't stand a chance." The captain turned to face his engineer. "What's our status?" "Fuel cells at 87%. Weapons at full capacity, but we don't have many. Shields are strong." Jisoo paused. "But Captain, we're just one small ship. What can we do against their whole empire?" Do-hyun walked back to his captain's chair and sat down. On the screen, he pulled up images of human colonies. Happy places where people lived and worked, now facing the Kreth invasion. Then he showed pictures of his crew's families back on Earth. "Computer, show me the Kreth fleet movements," he ordered. A map appeared, showing red dots moving toward the human worlds. Too many red dots. "They think they've won," Do-hyun said quietly. "They think they've broken us." The ship's communication system beeped. Tactical Officer Han Jun-lee's voice came through. "Captain, I've analyzed their attack pattern. The Kreth are splitting their forces to hit all our colonies at once. They're stretched thin." Do-hyun's eyes narrowed. "Meaning each attack group is smaller?" "Yes, sir. Still powerful, but not unstoppable." The captain looked at Jisoo. "You mentioned that special energy pattern we found during our survey mission. The one you've been studying." Jisoo's eyes widened. "The neutron star phenomenon. I've been adapting some of its properties to our systems, but it's experimental. Untested. Could it give us an edge?" Jisoo thought for a moment. Maybe. The Kreth would never have seen anything like it. Do-hyun stood up straight. Something had changed in his face. The shock was gone, replaced by determination. "Call the crew to the bridge. All of them." 5 minutes later, all 8 crew members of the Defiance stood on the small bridge. Medical Officer Ta-won, Communications Officer Soo-min, Security Chief Jae-sung, Science Officer Min-ji, and AI Specialist Young-ho joined the captain, Jisoo, and Han-jun. "We are all that's left of humanity's defense," Do-hyun said simply. "We can run and hide, or we can fight. Against their whole empire." Jae-sung asked. "Sir, that's suicide." "No," Do-hyun said. "It's strategy. They think they've won. They won't be looking for us." He pointed to the map. "They never expected a fight from a single ship." "What are you saying, Captain?" Min-ji asked. Do-hyun smiled for the first time that day. "I'm saying we're going to war, and we're going to win." "Everyone follow me," Jisoo said as she led the crew down to the engine room. The narrow hallway echoed with their footsteps. Captain Do-hyun walked behind her. He trusted Ji-soo. She was the best engineer in the fleet, which is why he had picked her for the survey mission. The engine room hummed with energy. Ji-soo walked to a sealed door at the back. "Captain, remember 3 weeks ago when we found that strange neutron star?" she asked. Do-hyun nodded. "The one with the unusual energy pattern. You were very excited about it." Ji-soo smiled. "I did more than get excited." She placed her hand on a scanner, and the sealed door opened. "I did this." The crew gasped. Inside the small room was a glowing blue device connected to the ship's main power system. "What is that?" Security Chief Jae-sung asked, his hand moving to his weapon. "It's what will help us beat the Kreth," Ji-soo said. "I call it the phase shift drive." Min-ji stepped closer to the device. "You built this from the neutron star data?" "Yes. I've been working on it during my off hours. It's not against rules to upgrade our systems." Ji-soo looked at the captain. "Just, not all upgrades get reported right away." Do-hyun crossed his arms. "Explain how this helps us." Ji-soo touched a control panel. A hologram appeared showing the Defiance. The neutron star had a unique energy signature that lets matter exist partially in and out of our dimension. I adapted it to our ship. The hologram Defiance began to flicker. When activated, we can phase shift. We become partially invisible to sensors and can pass through certain energy fields. "Like Kreth shields?" Han-jun asked, his eyes wide. "Exactly," Ji-soo said. "Their shields can't stop what they can't fully detect." Young-ho, the AI specialist, studied the device closely. "You've connected it to our weapons systems too." Ji-soo nodded. "Our torpedoes can be phase shifted. They'll pass right through Kreth shields before becoming solid again." The crew looked at each other. Hope began to replace their fear. "Have you tested it?" Do-hyun asked. "Only in simulations. It works there. But we need a real test," the captain finished. Soo-min, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "I've been monitoring Kreth communications. There's a small patrol ship about to pass near us. Just one ship, probably checking for survivors." Do-hyun looked at his crew. "Looks like we have our test subject." 30 minutes later, the Defiance was in position. The Kreth patrol ship was a dark, insect-like vessel 3 times their size. "They haven't seen us yet," Han-jun reported from his tactical station. "Ji-soo, activate the phase shift," Do-hyun ordered. Ji-soo pressed a sequence of buttons. The lights dimmed for a moment, and a strange feeling passed through everyone, like being dunked in cold water. "Phase shift active," Ji-soo said. "We have 3 minutes before we need to reset." "That's all we need. Move us directly in front of them," Do-hyun ordered. The Defiance moved silently through space, taking position right in the path of the Kreth ship. "They're still not detecting us," Soo-min said in amazement. Do-hyun watched the alien ship grow larger on the screen. "Prepare 1 torpedo." Phase shifted. Han-jun loaded the weapon. "Ready, sir." "Wait until they're close. I want them to see us at the last second," Do-hyun said. The Kreth ship came closer. When it was just 500 meters away, Do-hyun gave the order. "Deactivate phase shift on the hull only. Keep the weapons shifted." The Defiance suddenly appeared in front of the Kreth ship. The alien vessel tried to turn, sending out alert signals. "Fire," Do-hyun said calmly. The torpedo shot forward, passing straight through the Kreth shields like they weren't there. It hit the engine section and exploded. The Kreth ship drifted, its systems failing. "Their shields never activated," Jae-sung said in disbelief. "The phase shift worked." Do-hyun smiled. "Now we have a weapon. And the Kreth don't know it exists." Taiwan looked at the disabled Kreth ship. "What do we do with them?" "We take their ship," Do-hyun said. "We need all the information we can get." The crew looked at their captain with new respect. The impossible suddenly seemed possible. "This is just the beginning," Do-hyun told them. One ship against an empire. But now, we have a chance. Han Jun stood in front of the crew, pointing to a holographic map. 3 red dots moved slowly across a trade route. These are Kreth supply ships, he said. They carry fuel, weapons, and food to the main fleet. They have guards, but not many. Captain Du Hyun studied the map. It had been 2 days since they tested the phase shift technology. In that time, they had learned much from the captured Kreth patrol ship. How many guard ships? Du Hyun asked. 2, Han Jun replied. Small ones. Nothing we can't handle with our new advantage. Young Ho raised his hand. Captain, I've cracked some of their communication codes. We can listen to them, but they can't hear us. Do Hyun nodded. Good work. What about the ship systems, Ji-Soo? Jae-Soo looked up from her tablet. The phase shift is working better than expected. I've improved it, so we can stay shifted for 5 minutes now. And I've modified our torpedoes, Han Jun added. 4 are now phase shifted. They'll pass through shields like they're not there. Do Hyun looked at each crew member. Their faces showed determination. Fear was gone now. Let's take those supply ships, he said. We need what they're carrying. The Defiance hid behind a small asteroid. The 3 Kreth supply ships were moving slowly, their guard ships flying in front and behind. Phase shift ready, Ji-Soo reported. Weapons locked on the guard ships, Han Jun said. Do Hyun took a deep breath. Begin. The Defiance phased out, becoming ghost-like. It slipped out from behind the asteroid and moved silently toward the Kreth ships. They don't see us, Soo-min whispered, watching the enemy communication channels. The Defiance slid between the first guard ship and the supply vessels. Do Hyun waited until they were perfectly positioned. Now, he ordered. Ji-Soo deactivated the hull phase shift. The Defiance appeared suddenly, like a ghost becoming solid. Fire, Do Hyun commanded. 2 phase-shifted torpedoes launched. 1 hit each guard ship, passing through their shields like they were water. The explosions were bright against the darkness of space. Guard ships disabled, Han Jun reported. Their engines and weapons are down. The supply ships began to scatter, sending distress signals. Phase shift again, Do Hyun ordered. Move to intercept the middle supply ship. The Defiance phased out once more and raced after the largest supply vessel. When they were alongside it, Do Hyun gave a new order. Jae-Sung, take your security team over. Capture that ship intact. Jae-Sung and 4 crew members put on spacesuits. They phase-shifted themselves using small devices Ji-Soo had made. Be careful, Do Hyun told them. We need prisoners too. Jae-Sung nodded and led his team through the airlock. They floated across to the Kreth ship, passing through its outer hull thanks to their phase shift devices. Once inside, they solidified and began their mission. 20 minutes later, Jae-Sung's voice came through the communication system. Captain, ship secured. We have 10 Kreth prisoners. No casualties on either side. Excellent, Do Hyun replied. What's in the cargo? There was a pause before Jae-Sung answered. His voice sounded strange. Sir, you need to see this yourself. Do Hyun stood in the cargo hold of the Kreth supply ship. Around him were hundreds of containers. Jae-Sung had opened one for him to see. Inside were human body parts, preserved in liquid. All the containers are like this, Jae-Sung said quietly. Different organs, tissue samples. Min-ji scanned the containers with her device. These are all tagged, cataloged, like specimens. Soo-min appeared at the door, her face pale. Captain, I found their mission logs. I've translated some of it. She paused. The Kreth aren't just fighting for territory. They're harvesting us. Harvesting? Do Hyun asked. They need human biological material for their genetic programs. Soo-min explained. Our DNA has something they want, something they need. Do Hyun looked at the containers again. His hands formed fists. This changes everything, he said. This isn't just about saving our colonies anymore. He turned to his crew. This is about saving our species. The crew stood silent, understanding the new stakes. Prepare the prisoners for questioning, Du-hyun ordered. We need to know everything about their plans. He looked at the stars through a viewport. And then we're going to stop them. Soo-min sat at her communication station, eyes closed, listening through her headset. For hours, she had been scanning all frequencies, searching for any human signals. I found another one, she said finally, opening her eyes. A small colony on Hadron 5. They're hiding in the mountains. The Kreth haven't found them yet. Captain Du-hyun looked up from the star map he was studying. Can you reach them? Soo-min nodded. Yes, but we need to be careful. The Kreth are listening too. Use the quantum channel, Du-hyun said. Ju-soo made it just for this. Soo-min switched to the special communication system Ji-soo had built using parts from the captured Kreth ships. It could send messages that were impossible to intercept. Hadron 5 colony, this is HS Defiance. Do you read? Soo-min spoke clearly. After a moment of static, a voice replied. This is Hadron 5. We thought everyone was dead. Who is this? We are the last human warship, Soo-min said, and we're fighting back. 1 week later, the Defiance hung in orbit around an abandoned mining moon. Below them, a small shuttle approached. They're using the recognition signal, Han-jun confirmed. Let them dock, Du-hyun ordered. The shuttle connected to the Defiance. 5 people came aboard, thin, tired-looking humans from the Hadron 5 colony. Welcome, Du-hyun greeted them. I'm Captain Kim. A tall woman stepped forward. I'm Leader Yuna. We didn't believe your message at first. One ship against the Kreth. She looked around the bridge. Is this really all that's left? It's enough, Du-hyun said confidently. We've already destroyed 6 Kreth ships and damaged 12 more. Yuna's eyes widened. How? Do-hyun smiled. We'll show you, but first, tell us what you know about other human survivors. Tai-1 worked quickly in the medical bay. 3 wounded resistance fighters lay on beds. They had been brought aboard during a risky meeting with survivors from Earth's 3rd colony. The burns are healing, Tai-1 told a young man with bandaged arms. You'll be able to fight again soon. Thank you, Doctor, the man said. When we heard about the Defiance, many of us lost hope. But seeing what you've done, he smiled. People are joining the resistance every day now. Tai-1 nodded and moved to the next patient. In just 3 weeks, the Defiance had contacted survivors on 7 different worlds. Each group had valuable information about Kreth movements and weaknesses. Young-ho sat surrounded by Kreth technology. Parts of drones and computers were spread across his workstation. How's it going? Ji-soo asked, entering the room. Young-ho held up a small device with a blinking light. I've reprogrammed this Kreth drone. It thinks I'm its commander now. Will it work? Yes, Young-ho said. When we release it, it will return to the Kreth fleet, but it will send us everything it sees and hears. Ji-soo smiled. Perfect. And what about the others? Young-ho pointed to 5 more drones waiting in a row. All ready. We'll drop them near different Kreth bases. They'll feed false information back to the enemy. The Kreth won't know what's real anymore, Ji-soo said. Do-hyun stood in the conference room. On the large screen were the faces of resistance leaders from all 3 star systems. Soo-min had connected them using the quantum channel. The Defiance can't be everywhere, Do-hyun told them. But we can coordinate our attacks. My people are ready, said Leader Yuna from Hadron 5. Just tell us when. We have explosives planted at the Kreth fuel depot, reported another leader. We just need the signal. Do-hyun looked at the star map showing Kreth positions. Red dots were everywhere, but now there were blue dots too, human resistance groups. The Kreth think they're hunting us, Do-hyun said. But we're hunting them now. Each Kreth ship we destroy gives us more parts for our technology. Each base we hit weakens their hold. And they still don't know how we're beating them, Su-min added. Do-hyun nodded. Here's the plan. 3 days from now, we hit them everywhere at once. The Defiance will take out their command ship in Sector 7. At the same time, all resistance groups attack their nearest Kreth target. The leaders nodded in agreement. They never expected us to fight back like this, Do-hyun said. The lone ship and scattered survivors. But that's their mistake. We aren't just surviving anymore. We're winning. Leader Yuna finished for him. Do-hyun looked at the faces on the screen, determined, hopeful. What had started with one ship was now a network of fighters across 3 star systems. 3 days, he repeated. Get ready. Emergency. All hands to battle stations. Do-hyun's voice boomed through the Defiance. The ship shook as another blast hit them. Red warning lights flashed on the bridge. What happened? Do-hyun demanded as he rushed to his captain's chair. I thought we were phase shifted. Jisoo's fingers flew across her control panel. We were. They hit us anyway. The Defiance had been on a routine mission to destroy a Kreth communications relay. It should have been easy. Phase shift in, plant explosives. Phase shift out. They had done it 5 times before. But this time, something was different. 3 Kreth warships approaching. Han-jun reported. Not patrol ships. These are hunters. On the main screen, 3 black ships with red markings appeared. They moved in perfect formation, cutting off escape routes. Phase shift not responding, Jisoo said, her voice tight with worry. They're using some kind of dampening field. Another blast rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a control panel. Shields at 60%, Jae-sung reported. Do-hyun's mind raced. Full power to engines. Get us out of here. The Defiance turned and accelerated away from the Kreth ships. The enemy followed, still firing. They're faster than regular Kreth ships, Han-jun said. And their weapons are stronger. Captain, Su-min called from her station. I'm picking up their communications. They're calling themselves Vrak's Command. They're specifically hunting us. Do-hyun frowned. They know about us. About the Defiance. Shields at 40%, Jae-sung reported as another hit landed. There's an asteroid field ahead, Han-jun said. We might lose them there. Do it, Do-hyun ordered. The Defiance plunged into a dense field of spinning rocks. The pilot's hands moved quickly, guiding the ship through narrow gaps. They're still following, Han-jun said. 1 ship damaged by asteroids, but 2 are still on us. Another hit shook the ship violently. A support beam fell from the ceiling, narrowly missing Minji. Shields at 20%, Jae-sung reported. We can't take much more. Jisoo, Do-hyun called. Can you get the phase shift working? Jisoo was buried under an open panel, pulling out damaged parts and replacing them. I need 2 minutes. We don't have 2 minutes, Han-jun warned. Do-hyun fought quickly. Released the modified drones. All of them. Young-ho looked up in surprise. But sir, we were saving those 4. Now, Do-hyun ordered. Young-ho hit a sequence of buttons. From the back of the Defiance, 20 small drones shot out. They had been reprogrammed to emit the same energy signature as the Defiance. The drones are active, Young-ho reported, all showing our signature. The Kreth ships hesitated, suddenly seeing 20 Defiance signals instead of 1. They're confused, Han-jun said, splitting up to chase the drones. Jisoo, Do-hyun asked. Almost there, she replied, connecting 2 wires. Try it now. Do-hyun hit the phase shift control. The lights dimmed, and the familiar cold feeling washed over them. Phase shift active, Jisoo confirmed. But it's not stable. We have maybe 1 minute. Plot a course out of the asteroid field, Do-hyun ordered. Maximum speed. The Defiance slipped through the asteroids, now invisible to Kreth sensors. When they reached clear space, Do-hyun gave the order to drop the phase shift and jump to light speed. Stars stretched into lines as the ship escaped. How did they find us? Du Hyun asked later, as the crew gathered in the medical bay. Taiwan moved from bed to bed, treating injured crew members. 3 had serious burns, 1 had a broken arm. Min Jae looked up from her tablet. I analyzed their attack pattern. The Kreth have developed a way to detect our phase shift energy. Can they copy it? Ji-Soo asked, holding an ice pack to her forehead. No, Min-ji said, but they can see it now, like a shadow. Su-min stepped forward. I've been translating intercepted messages. The Kreth have formed a special unit just to hunt us, led by someone called Commander Vrax. How did they learn about us? Jae-sung asked. Su-min looked down. They captured some resistance fighters from Hadron 5. Leader Yuna was among them. A heavy silence fell over the room. What about the other resistance cells? Du Hyun asked. Most are still operating, Su-min said, but 3 have gone silent. Do Hyun stood up, wincing from his own injuries. The Kreth are adapting, learning our tactics. What do we do now? Han Jun asked. Do Hyun looked at his damaged ship, his injured crew. For the first time since they started fighting, doubt showed on his face. We adapt too, he said finally. Ji-Soo, Min-ji, work on improving the phase shift. Make it harder to detect. Yes, Captain, they said together. The rest of you, repair the ship. We need to be ready to move soon. Do Hyun walked to the viewport and stared at the stars. The Kreth think they have us on the run. Do Hyun looked at the hologram floating above the table. It showed a massive ship, 5 times larger than the Defiance. This was the Kreth flagship, the Dominion. This is suicide, Jae-sung said, shaking his head. Even with our phase shift, we can't get near that thing. 2 weeks had passed since the Defiance was damaged by Commander Vrax's forces. They had been hiding, moving from place to place, always 1 step ahead of the hunters. We don't need to get the Defiance near it, Do-hyun replied. Just us. The crew looked at their captain with confusion. Do-hyun pointed to a small device on the table. Ji-Soo has modified the personal phase shift units. They last longer now. 15 minutes instead of 5. Long enough for a boarding party to get in, Ji-Soo added. Han Jun leaned forward, studying the hologram. What's the target? Do-hyun zoomed in on a section near the center of the flagship. This is the command center. According to the information from our reprogrammed drones, this is where they keep the central command codes. What are these codes? Su-min asked. The key to the entire Kreth communication network, Do-hyun explained. Every order, every ship movement, every attack plan goes through their central system. If we get those codes, we can listen to everything. Maybe even send our own orders. The crew was silent, thinking about the plan. It's still suicide, Jae-sung finally said. There are thousands of Kreth on that ship. That's why only a small team will go, Do-hyun said. You, me, Han Jun, and Min-ji. Jae-sung looked surprised. You're going too. Do-hyun nodded. I won't ask my crew to do something I wouldn't do myself. How do we get there? Han Jun asked. That's the clever part, Do-hyun said with a small smile. We let them capture us. The small shuttle drifted through space, its power systems failing. It sent out a distress signal on all frequencies. Inside, 4 humans waited in the dark. Do-hyun checked his watch. Any moment now. A shadow fell over the shuttle as an enormous ship appeared above them. The Dominion. Bright lights scanned the small vessel. They're scanning us, Min-ji whispered. Just as we planned, Do-hyun said. They'll think we're refugees from one of the destroyed colonies. A mechanical voice came through the shuttle speakers. Human vessel, you are being brought aboard for processing. Do not resist. A beam of light surrounded the shuttle, pulling it toward the massive ship. The shuttle shook as it passed through the outer doors of the Dominion and landed in a large hangar. Phase shift units ready, Do-hyun whispered as they felt the shuttle touch down. Remember, we only have 15 minutes once we activate. Straight to the command center. get the codes, straight back. They heard heavy footsteps outside as Kreth soldiers approached the shuttle. Now, Do-hyun ordered. All 4 humans activated their phase shift devices. The cold feeling washed over them as they became partially out of phase with normal space. The shuttle door opened. 6 Kreth soldiers entered, weapons ready. They looked around, confused by the empty shuttle. The 4 humans slipped past them, invisible to normal sight. They moved quickly through the hangar and into the main corridors of the flagship. "This way," Minji whispered, following the map on her small device. "Command center is 10 levels up." They used service tunnels to avoid Kreth patrols. When they had to cross open areas, they moved quickly, appearing as nothing more than slight blurs to any watching eyes. 8 minutes left, Do-hyun warned as they reached the level containing the command center. The command center was a large room with screens covering the walls. 20 Kreth officers worked at stations around a central platform where a tall Kreth stood giving orders. "That's him," Han-jun whispered. "Commander Vrax." Do-hyun pointed to a station in the corner. "There. The main terminal. Minji, get the codes. We'll watch the door." Minji nodded and moved to the terminal. Still phase shifted, her hands passed through the solid controls at first. She carefully adjusted her device to allow partial interaction and began typing. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. "They've detected us," Jae-sung said. "The phase shift must be wearing off." "How much longer?" Do-hyun asked Minji. "Almost there," she replied, her fingers moving rapidly. "Just a few more seconds." Commander Vrax looked up, his 4 eyes scanning the room. "Intruders. Security to the command center." "Minji," Do-hyun urged. "Got them," she said, holding up a small data chip. "All the command codes." "Time to go," Do-hyun ordered. Back to the shuttle. They ran for the door, but Kreth soldiers were already flooding in. Jae-sung pulled out a weapon. "I'll hold them off," he said. "The rest of you go." "No." Do-hyun grabbed his arm. "We all leave together." "All systems ready, Captain," Jisoo reported. "The virus is loaded and ready to transmit." Do-hyun nodded, his face showing both determination and sadness. It had been 3 days since they escaped the Kreth flagship. 3 days since Jae-sung stayed behind so others could escape. The loss weighed heavily on everyone. "Young-ho status?" Do-hyun asked. Young-ho looked up from his station. "I've analyzed the command codes. The virus will spread through their entire network in minutes. Every Kreth ship connected to the central system will be affected." The bridge of the Defiance was quiet. Each crew member knew what was at stake. Their ship hung in space near the edge of the Proxima colony system. Below them, the last major human settlement was preparing for a massive Kreth attack. "Su-min, are all resistance cells in position?" Do-hyun asked. Su-min nodded, her hand on her communication headset. "Yes, Captain. All 7 remaining cells are ready. They'll attack the moment the Kreth ships are compromised." Do-hyun stood and looked at the main screen. It showed the approaching Kreth fleet. 50 warships led by the massive Dominion flagship. They were coming to finish off humanity's last major colony. "This is the moment," Do-hyun said to his crew. "Everything we've done, all we've lost, has led to this. The Kreth think they're about to win the war. They don't know we have their command codes." Han-jun checked his tactical display. "Kreth fleet will be in range in 3 minutes. Do-hyun took a deep breath. "Remember Jae-sung. Remember all those we've lost. Today we make their sacrifice mean something." The crew nodded silently. "Move us into position," Do-hyun ordered. "Prepare to broadcast on all Kreth frequencies." The Defiance moved forward, small against the massive enemy fleet. As they approached, the Kreth ships began to turn toward them. "They've spotted us," Han-jun reported. "Good," Do-hyun said. "I want them all looking at us." The Kreth ships fired their weapons. Energy beams shot through space toward the Defiance. Phase shift now, Do-hyun ordered. The Defiance shifted, the enemy fire passing harmlessly through it. Jisoo had improved the technology so it could no longer be easily detected. "We're in range," Young-ho announced, ready to transmit the virus. "All resistance cells report ready," Soo-min added. Do-hyun nodded. "Send it." Young-ho pressed a sequence of buttons. Virus away. For a moment, nothing happened. The Kreth ships continued their approach, weapons firing. Then, one by one, their lights began to flicker. "It's working," Minji said, watching her scanner. "Their systems are failing." On the main screen, they could see the Kreth ships losing formation. Some began to drift aimlessly. Others turned and fired on ships next to them. "The virus has corrupted their friend or foe identification," Young-ho explained. "They can't tell who is enemy and who is ally. Their communication system is in chaos," Soo-min reported, listening to her headset. "They're all giving different orders, contradicting each other." Two Kreth destroyers collided, their shields down. A third fired blindly, hitting the side of the flagship Dominion. "Soo-min, give the signal to the resistance cells," Do-hyun ordered. Soo-min sent the message. Across the Proxima system, human fighters launched from hidden bases. Small ships attacked confused Kreth vessels. Explosives planted on Kreth supply stations detonated. "The colony defense forces are launching," Han-jun reported with a smile. "They're hitting the Kreth from the other side." The Defiance moved through the middle of the confused enemy fleet, firing its weapons at key targets. Without their shields, the Kreth ships were vulnerable. "The Dominion is trying to retreat," Minji said. "They're calling for all ships to fall back. But half their ships can't hear the order because of our virus," Young-ho added. "And some that do hear it think it's a trick." Do-hyun watched as the mighty Kreth fleet fell into complete disarray. Human ships, small but determined, attacked from all sides. The resistance cells they had built over weeks were now striking as one. "Captain," Soo-min called, excitement in her voice. "I'm getting messages from across 3 star systems. Human colonies are reporting Kreth forces in retreat everywhere. The virus has spread through their entire network." The crew of the Defiance looked at each other in amazement. What had seemed impossible was happening before their eyes. "Sir," Han-jun said quietly. "Look." On the main screen, the Dominion was turning away, surrounded by the few ships still under its control. The flagship of the Kreth Empire was retreating. "They're running," Jisoo whispered. Do-hyun nodded. "Not just here. Everywhere." He looked at his crew, pride in his eyes. "We did it. One ship against an empire. And we won." 6 months later, Captain Do-hyun Kim stood on the bridge of the Defiance. He wore a new uniform with gold trim, marking his promotion to admiral. Through the large view screen, he could see the blue and green planet below. "Earth. Hard to believe we're home," Jisoo said, coming to stand beside him. Do-hyun nodded. 6 months ago, I thought we might never see it again." Earth looked peaceful from space. No one would guess that just half a year earlier, humanity had been on the edge of extinction. "Admiral," Soo-min called from her station. "The Kreth delegation has arrived. Their ship is requesting permission to land." "Granted," Do-hyun replied, "and inform the council we're on our way to the signing ceremony." As the crew prepared to leave the ship, Do-hyun looked at each of them. They too wore new uniforms, each with medals showing their rank and accomplishments. "Before we go down," Do-hyun said, "I want to thank all of you. What we did, what started on this ship, it changed everything." "We just survived," Han-jun said modestly. "No," Do-hyun shook his head. "We did much more than survive." The Great Hall in New Geneva was filled with people from all the human colonies. Leaders, soldiers, and civilians had gathered to witness the historic moment. Do-hyun and his crew sat in places of honor near the front. A tall Kreth in elaborate robes walked to the center of the hall. This was High Admiral Zorn, supreme commander of what remained of the Kreth Empire. He moved stiffly, careful to show no emotion. In accordance with the terms agreed upon, Zorn spoke in a translated voice. The Kreth Empire acknowledges defeat in our conflict with the Human Alliance. We agree to withdraw from all disputed territories, release all prisoners, and pay reparations for damages caused. The Human Council leader stepped forward with a document. Both she and Zorn placed their hands on it, finalizing the peace treaty. Applause filled the hall. 6 months of hard fighting had finally ended in total victory. The Kreth, once seeming unstoppable, had been broken. After the ceremony, an older man approached Du Hyun and his crew. He wore the uniform of the Human Alliance Science Division. Admiral Kim, the man said, "Your phase shift technology has revolutionized our understanding of physics. We've already adapted it to all our ships. No one will ever threaten humanity like the Kreth did again." "It wasn't just the technology," Du Hyun replied. "It was how we used it." The scientist nodded. "One ship against an empire. It will be taught in schools for generations." Later that day, Du Hyun stood with his crew on a quiet hillside. Before them was a simple stone monument. On it were the names of those lost in the war. Jae Sung's name was near the top. "He would be proud," Minji said softly. "They all would." Du Hyun placed his hand on the stone. "They gave us the chance. We just finished what they started." As they stood in silence, Su Min's communication device beeped. She checked it and looked up with surprise. "Admiral, the Council wants to see us immediately. A ship has arrived from the Centauri system." "Kreth?" Han Jun asked, instantly alert. "No," Su Min replied. "Something else. A new species. They're asking to speak with the ones who defeated the Kreth." Back on the Defiance, the crew watched as images of the alien visitors appeared on screen. They were tall, slender beings with silvery skin. "They call themselves the Eldarin," Su Min explained. "They were once conquered by the Kreth 500 years ago. They've been in hiding ever since, until they heard about us." "What do they want?" Du Hyun asked. "Alliance," Su Min said. "And they're not alone. 3 other species have sent messages as well, all former victims of the Kreth, all wanting to meet the humans who did what no one else could." Young Ho smiled. "From nearly extinct to galactic diplomats in 6 months. Not bad." Du Hyun looked at his crew, then at the stars visible through the view screen. The same stars that had seemed so threatening now offered endless possibilities. "Prepare the ship," he ordered, "and inform the Council we'll represent humanity in these talks." "Where are we going, Admiral?" Jisoo asked. Du Hyun smiled. "Everywhere. The Kreth thought they were the most powerful force in the galaxy. They were wrong. Now everyone knows it." As the Defiance prepared to depart Earth, Du Hyun thought about their journey. From a single surviving ship to the defenders of humanity. From hunted to respected. From nearly extinct to ascending. "Set course for the Centauri system," he ordered. "Let's go meet our new allies." The Defiance, now the flagship of the Human Alliance fleet, moved away from Earth. Its hull gleamed with new technology based on Jisoo's original design. But at its heart, it was still the same ship that had once stood alone against an empire. And won.